So I often get asked, what are the products that are long discontinued that are worth hunting down? And I think it's an interesting question. Like, if there are powder products that are discontinued, are they worth looking for on the secondary market? To me, there are actually quite a few that I have tracked down, that I have helped other people track down. I have encouraged other people to track down. I would not encourage people to do it for cream products or even like liquid products. I feel like there's just too much at risk. If you want to do it yourself, then that's fine, but I will not come on here and encourage you to do it. There are eyeliners by Chanel that I have bought on the secondary market and they've all been fine. But again, I wouldn't encourage folks to do so because, you know, there can be all kinds of problems. Mascara, definitely don't do it. Just don't do it. No matter how good a mascara was, it's not worth it. Just get a new mascara. But for today, what I'm going to do is I am going to talk about the products that I think are worth hunting down on the secondary market, putting a, you know, notice alert, something like that on Mercari and eBay and those types of sites in case these things pop up. And again, these are powder products. So obviously I have some products on my face right now that are not powder products. And I will tell you what those are. Those are all brand new, but I will give you some ideas about like why I think they are really worth looking at now, even though they're not, quote, discontinued. And on my face is the Bare Minerals, the Complexion Rescue. This is a tinted moisturizer in Opal 01. I'm just really liking this one. I feel like it's a good match for my skin. I feel like it gives me a healthy glow, and I love a good tinted moisturizer. So I think this one is really nice. I've worn it a couple of times, and every time I wear it, I get compliments on how my skin looks so good and glowy and healthy. So I really like this one. It reminds me of the tinted moisturizers that I have worn, you know, in the past. And I think it's an excellent one. The Laura Mercier one is also excellent. So those are ones that I would pick up. I think they're worth picking up. I think they're both excellent. And again, if you're putting together your carts, one of the reasons I'm doing a lot of this is that I just like to give you alternatives to new items, but also there are sales in April. March, end of March and April are when the sales hit. It's kind of an interesting, like, repetitive nature about, you know, sales and retail. So January, February, March. January, there's sales from the year before. So like big discounted sales for, you know, anything that was winter. January, February, March, and then April there are sales. End of March, beginning of April. And then April, May, June. June and July, there are sales. And then as you get into the latter half of the year, August, September, October, November, December, that is when most of the retailers make most of their money. So there's lots of new things that come out for the holidays. There's, you know, the especially holiday packaging. You don't get a ton of deep discounts necessarily, but there are a whole bunch of flood of sales because people are, you know, retailers are trying to pad their bottom line. So I do try to schedule, if I can, major reviews right before those timelines so that you guys can pick up the sales, the products you want on sale if you can, because these things are all expensive, and why not get them on sale if you can get them on sale? All right, so let's go into the discontinued products. I will talk about what's on my lips and a new setting spray that I really, really like when we get to the end. So the bronzer. You know what the bronzer is. This is the Tom Ford Terra. Now, I think it's worth it to try to track down the old Tom Ford Terra. So how do you know it's old? The oldest one is in this packaging. This is the deep brown packaging that Tom Ford had originally for all his products, and then the gold around the edge, and it's the oversized size. I don't think the oversized size exists at all anymore. I think it's just the smaller size that exists in Terra. Terra does pop up from time to time on Nordstrom and other retailers, and if you find it, I do think it's absolutely worth buying now. I still think it's a great bronzer. But tracking down the older versions of it, I do think are worth it. The older versions were cooler and more pigmented. This is the oldest version. You'll see me putting it on, and it is, in my opinion, the best version. It has the most pigment. It's the smoothest. I really love the way it looks on my skin, but it's going to be very hard to find this version of it because this version is 10 years old. And let's face it, it is long past its, quote, expiration date. I don't have any problems with that. Me personally, I feel like the original products, the products that were made back then, they have, good or bad, they have preservatives in them that the product is going to be fine. However, I would not recommend buying a used product. I'm talking about a product like this that's in a box, that's never been used. I think it will be absolutely fine. Now, the more recent ones, you'll know it's an older version because it's the oversized version, but it's in white packaging. Those are the ones that I would definitely hunt down. Again, for me, for makeup, as long as it's in a box and it hasn't been used, I'm fine with it. Powder lasts. The ones that were made, quite some time, they last. They absolutely last. So I'm not saying pre-used makeup. I'm saying makeup that, is in a box, that it hasn't been used, or you're pretty sure it hasn't been used. Those are the ones that I would encourage you to pick up. And I do my declutter sale, which I try to do every year. In fact, it's coming up, and it'll be for members only first. But most of the products that I'm, actually all the products I'm decluttering are products that I've used maybe 3 times. And they're generally products that I've swatched for all of you, or I've compared for all of you, and I just don't like them. And I'm very, I only use them on myself, of course, and I spray everything with alcohol, blah, blah, blah. I mean, hopefully you know me at this point and you feel like you can trust the products that they will be okay. But I'm not decluttering anything that's 10 years old. I'm decluttering things that are a year old, 2 years old at the most, and then, So again, that's what my declutter sale is. But when you're buying just off the internet, you don't know who's had these products. You don't know how they've been kept, blah, blah, blah. So I totally get all that. But I definitely think trying to find the old versions of terracotta in the box is not used or worth it. When they were still available, the white version, the oversized version, I did try to tell everybody, go buy it now before it gets changed. So the new version, again, is a different version, and I'm sure they'll change it again because that is what they do. I don't really have a dupe for it that exists now. I would say there are a couple that I really like, including the RMS Beach Walk Betty. I think that's a really good one. I really like the RMS product. I think that's excellent. I think there's Dior. I have 04, I think is really good. I haven't tried the new ones, but I think the newer one that was 04 was a great compliment. Not quite as good as the bronzer from Tom Ford, but good. I do have multiple bronzer videos where you can see that I've swatched all the ones I have, so you can see the different shades. And I'll make sure that I link those so you can check those out. But I will be doing an updated one coming this summer, so we'll have that. Then highlighter. So there's a highlighter that I've talked about many times, the Chanel Camelia, which I just gave away, one that's never been used, for my first member only live. The next member only live, which will be, I'm scheduling it, I'm going to be giving away a box, it hasn't been opened, it's in plastic, of the Parfums de Marly Oriana. This is a 1 fluid ounce bottle of it. So that's the next members only live giveaway. Again, I have to schedule it, but it'll be sometime in April. I've talked about that Camelia highlighter a million times, and it's fantastic. It's almost impossible to find. I had an extra one that I've never used that I was either going to keep for myself, frankly, or doing a giveaway eventually when I decided to do, the members thing. So that's what I did. But honestly, very few people are going to sell that because it's just so rare. But there's another one that I think is really good, and I used it today, and I'll use it again so you guys can see. But this is the Chantecaille. Now, again, I have the box. I actually bought this when it was introduced, and it was done in combination. This is when Chantecaille used to do really cool collabs and stuff. I cannot remember the name of this company. If I can remember it, I will put it up. But it's is it stationary? Is it I forget. But you can see the design on the outside of the box. And let me see if I can find, here it is, it's on the inside. It says, Olivia and Sylvie collaborated with celebrated British wallpaper house Des Gournay to create this beautiful limited edition compact, an exclusive Des Gournay pattern and embossed design, romantic and radiant. The lightly shimmering pale pink highlighting powder gently illuminates the face with a delicate glow. So that's on the inside of the packaging. The compact itself has the same bird design and then the fabric design. And then the inside also has the exact same design. Now, they repeated this in a compact they came out with, what was it, 2022, 2021? I guess 2021. My brain is going. The Pearl Lumiere collection. These all have these little pearls on the top. And again, I love this packaging. This was the bird. The bird is now gone. It's a little different in this compact than it is in the special wallpaper compact, but it's close. So you could pick up either version of it and get basically the same look. I used a Wayne Goss brush. This is the F5, which is a brush that I use for blush when it's too pigmented, because I wanted it to be very light when I first put it on, but I will intensify it a little bit for you so you can see like better. But again, it has this beautiful pink shift to it with gold, which is just, I mean, it's stunning. And I've never really come across anything quite like it except for the Camelia, except for the Chanel Camelia. And that is the closest I've ever come. But it's a really beautiful, like, it's a little sparkly, but not too sparkly, pink gold shift. But it doesn't settle on the lines and it's kind of smoothing. It's a beautiful highlighter. So if you can track that down in either the wallpaper packaging in a box or the pearl packaging, again, never used, I think totally worth hunting them down. Are they going to be expensive? Probably. Anybody who's selling it, I think they're going to know what they have. I mean, maybe not, but probably. Okay, blush. So for blush, it's a shade from Chanel that I'm sure, you know, you've heard me talk about the Chanel blushes of old. This is called Tempting Beige. And a friend of mine actually gave this to me. It was incredibly kind of her. And Tempting Beige is the best shade, in my opinion, from Chanel of old. Now, what you find about the Chanel blushes of old, first of all, that's one swatch. They are ridiculously pigmented. I have heard some people say that they didn't like the old Chanels because they weren't pigmented. And I'm wondering if you maybe have a bad blush, because I worked for Chanel way back in the day and the blushes were very pigmented. And in fact, that could be a problem from time to time because there weren't as many brushes and a lot of the brushes were, well, almost all the brushes were natural hair at the time. There really weren't that many synthetic brushes. And sometimes on a very pale customer, I had to be very careful how I use the blushes because they would always pick something like Golden Sun, which is a great shade, but it's very deep. And I'd be like, okay, let me figure out a way to dampen that down. But yeah, the old blushes were very pigmented and they're very buildable. I mean, they're great. They're really that good. The other thing is they still smell. Not bad. Like rose. You can still smell it. This one is old, guys, and it still smells like rose. I mean, so what I would say is for the Chanel blushes, it's going to be almost impossible for you to find one that's never been used. If you do, it's going to be very expensive, just no doubt. If you feel comfortable buying one that's been used, then, you know, go ahead and purchase. Again, I'm not telling anyone to buy things that are expired. But this one's definitely old. It definitely was used, and because it was a tester. And, you know, I basically sprayed it with some alcohol and it's been fine. I haven't had any problems with it. It's exactly the same as it was. The smell brings me right back. And it's absolutely beautiful, and it's what I have on my cheeks today. The closest I have found is the new Saint Laurent in Nocturnal Nude. Strangely enough. Number 12. Now, is it exact? No, it's not. but it's similar. It's not as pink, but it's close. It's warmer. I think Rose Haze is another good choice. It's not exact either, but it's close. The Saint Laurent blushes, though, they have a similar feel to the Chanel blushes, and they actually have a similar blurring as the old Chanels. Again, not exact, but they're close. That would be the best that I've come across so far. I'm, you know, hoping someday Chanel will do it, but they haven't done it yet. What can I say? All right, so on my eyes. So the first thing I did was take a shade from the Les Beiges. This is a 9 pan. This is the Indespensibles. Now, I do see this pop up every once in a while, not used. And there's a colorful one as well. These are absolutely worth buying. The formulas in here are great. And basically each one is a trio that you can use, or you can just mix them. The shades are more intense than they look. This shade here is the only shade I used from it. And I used it as sort of the transition shade for this look, because this look is obviously very blue, very light blue green, and I wanted something to ground it a little bit. So that is what is in the crease, the transition of my eye. And as you see me putting it on, you can just see the mattes that Chanel used to have, and some of the more recent ones I've been impressed by. They just went on so smoothly and looked so good. It was just like, wow, that's impressive, Chanel. Then on my eyelids is Mare by Chantecaille. This was sent to me by a subscriber. If you want me to shout you out, I absolutely will, but I don't know if you want me to, so I haven't so far. This is the shade that I used to have and then disappeared. This is Mare, and Mare is the most beautiful aqua. It's an aqua. Like it's so stunning. And what's so particularly interesting about this shade that I haven't seen Chantecaille do is that it's a luminescent eye shade, and you can see that, but it's so smooth, and there's no sparkle, it's the most iridescent, gorgeous. I mean, like, it's just, you just want to like keep putting it on because it's so pretty and so shimmery, and it looks like an ocean. Like, it's just stunning. Now, the new Chanel Menthe, I have compared them, and I'm going to put it here for you. You'll see that they are different. They are not the same. They are similar, but there's something about the Mare and the color of the Mare, which is this one, and then here's the Menthe, that I think they would go very well together, right? But it's a lighter, more iridescent. I just, you know, it's so unusual that I am so glad to have it back. Thank you. I really appreciate the person who sent it to me. Thank you so much, because I have been wearing it a lot. It's just a really beautiful shade. So I would encourage you to track that one down if you don't have it and you like these types of shades. Now, if you would never wear a shade like this, then obviously, you know, don't hunt it down. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous shade, and it's not that many years ago. So, you know, hopefully there'll be some around, although who knows. The other shade that came out with it is like a golden shade that's really beautiful as well. So there were two, and then there was a bronzer, which I also have, which I think is Serena or something like that came with the same, you know, packaging on the front that basically is the beaches, and I think the beaches in Italy, I'm pretty sure, but absolutely just, you know, beautiful and stunning. So the mascara, obviously, I have on is not old mascara. I'm wearing the Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerize. I think this is a great mascara. I think it reminds me a little bit of my old, it was a L'Oreal Voluminous Curved Brush Black Mascara, which still exists. It's a good mascara, and I really like it. It's just I've found mascaras that I like more, like the Sweet Beauty and the Charlotte Tilbury. On the lower lashes, this is a new version of it, but this is an old mascara. This is the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash. This mascara is one of the best mascaras for lower lashes and upper lashes too, but I use it for my lower lashes that's ever been introduced. It's a very thin wand but it's long, like it's got a long brush head. And it's great for your lower lashes. It doesn't transfer. It gets at every lash, but it still is volumizing. It's an amazing mascara. Try it out. Try it out for your lower lashes if that's all you want. I just use it for that, but you can use it on your upper lashes too. It's great. It's a really good mascara. And basically MAC had it way back in the day, and then they didn't have it for a while, I think, and then they reintroduced it. So definitely worth picking up. The liner that I have on my eyes is an old liner. It's True Blue, which doesn't exist anymore. You can find it from time to time on secondary sites, but again, this is cream, so I'm not going to recommend you do that. I have done that, but I'm not going to recommend that you necessarily do it. But there are two shades that are new to Chanel that I think will give you something similar. It's not the same. The Nuage Blue, which is a stylo, which came out for spring, and then the Vert Titanium. Again, these are not the same, but they have a similar vibe, a similar feel. The True Blue, I haven't seen anything like it. It's an electric light blue, and it's just, I mean, I haven't seen like anyone do anything like that on the market today in luxury beauty because it is a very bright color. But anyway, two things about these. Again, they do exist, some of the older shades. You can track them down from time to time. But even if the new ones, make sure they're absolutely closed, because when the caps go back on, they look like they're on, but they're not really on. Make sure they snap. Because if you don't make sure they snap closed and are fully closed, they can dry out pretty easily, actually, which is another problem with buying anything like that, even if it hasn't been used. Because if people haven't closed it correctly, it's going to dry out. Lip liner. So the lip liner I used is an Old Spice liner. The Old Spice liner by MAC had a pinker shade to it. MAC has reintroduced Spice, I think it's called Cool Spice, which is like the Old Spice. So you can buy that one from MAC, or you can buy this one from Mob Beauty. So here's the Spice that I have, which is not the oldest version. Here is the Mob Beauty one. Can you see how much cooler it is? That's what original Spice was like. So you can buy the Mob Beauty one, and I'll make sure the number, it's 1990. You get it. It was 1990 when it was popular. You can buy that from Mob Beauty, or you can buy Cool Spice by MAC, which is my understanding. I don't own it. I almost bought it. Maybe I'll buy it like when it's 20% off. I almost bought it at Nordstrom, and then I stopped myself and I was like, Jennifer, you don't need it. You have so much. But it is supposedly like the old original MAC. So cool one. Now they have Spice, which is warmer, and Cool Spice, which is like the original Spice, if that makes any sense. Lipstick. What I have on my lips was sent to me, and I really am enjoying it. This is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Sticks. It's a high shine gloss stick. This is It Fussy, which I love the name. But this is a glossy, you know how I love these glossy bombs. I really like this formula though. It is a beautiful, glossy, thick, opaque formula. Not thick and like sticky, not that kind of thick, but like it's got like some weight to it. It's got some color to it. I really, really like this. It also has a scent. So that means there's fragrance in here. There's squalene in here. There's different types of wax in here. Yes, there's aroma and flavor and fragrance in here. I don't know what it is, but I think it's peach. It's definitely fruity, and it smells fantastic. I think it's peach. But if you don't like a scent, then you won't like this. But I absolutely love this. Fenty sent this to me, which was a huge shock. Thank you, Fenty, for sending this to me. And I want to pick up another couple of shades at the Sephora sale. They also sent me the You Mist Makeup Extending Setting Spray. And you'll see me putting it on in the video. And here's the thing. I don't use setting sprays. I have setting sprays. Like I have the all-nighter. I have, you know. And every time I use them, they either irritate my skin. I have some that really irritate my skin. Or they look, because my skin is dry, it doesn't look right. Like it doesn't look attractive on me. It kind of looks heavy. I don't know. It settles and makes my skin look drier. This one did not do that. And I'm really shocked. So I'm reading the ingredients. And the first ingredient is water. The second ingredient is acrylates copolymer, pentylene glycol, PVP, and then butylene glycol, phenoxyethanol, and then thymocephalin extract. I don't know what any of these things are. You guys probably do. But it does seem to work for me. It does make the makeup last longer. I have tested it out. I have noticed that it doesn't so even on me with dry skin, I have oils in my skin. In fact, my skin has gotten less dry as I've gotten older. And I know it's weird. I start to get like separation lines here where I have lines here, you know, on my lids. It's like around the crinkles around my eyes, that kind of thing. And with this one, that doesn't seem to happen. What ends up happening is I don't get as much separation. It's more of a fading effect, which I prefer to the breaking up lines effect. So I think I'm just going to keep using this because I really like it. Yeah, I'm impressed. It says extends makeup wear to stay looking fresh all day for a natural looking finish that lasts. And at least on me, it does. So who am I to argue? You close your eyes, you'll see as you saw in the video, and just you spray it. Like I said, impressed so far. So another possibility for your Sephora card. Last but not least, perfumes. Now I have so many perfumes that I think are worth tracking down. I could do an entire video on discontinued perfumes alone. But there's a line of perfumes that have been discontinued in the United States. I think some of them still exist overseas, but generally this is a line that's gone. And it made me very sad when they got rid of it because it was one of my favorites. And this is believe it or not, this is the Lancome Signature line. And the bottles used to look like this. Now, you'll still see some of these, like I said, if you're overseas when you see this, you'll probably have seen these bottles. If you're in the US, you might not have ever seen these bottles. So they have this gorgeous like filigree design, and then on one side you'll see the gold plaque that has the name of the perfume. And some of the other ones you'll find the gold filigree is on the side, and then the gold plaque is here. This one is Iris. This one is the lavender, yeah. These two are two of my favorites. These are also the two hardest to find. This one is a lavender. If you like lavender at all, that is the most beautiful, calming lavender to ever exist. You can literally just spray this in the air around you and instantly feel better about life. I mean, it's that good. There's something in it. Yes, it's lavender, but it's calming. Like anytime I'm having a really just bad day, I spray this on. And then I walk around, I'm like, okay, things aren't so bad. I don't know what it is, and it won't be like that for everyone, but for me, it's just an instantly comforting, like calming scent. The Iris is a beautiful powdery scent. Again, just so beautiful. Now there's other Iris scents that I love that have come out recently, more recently, and I certainly recommend them. The Prada one is extremely good. This one is a little different though. Everything that the Lancome Signature line did is a little different. They have ouds, they have floral. I mean, the line, they have fig, I have all of them, I think, except for some that are super floral. There's like a rose. There's different levels of rose that they have, like watery rose, and then they have like a rose. They have some florals that I don't own because they were just too strong florals for me. But they're all beautiful. Like they all have, oh, they're just, I mean, they're hard to explain because each one is kind of complicated. And I could go through the notes if you guys actually want a video like that. Or if members only want something like that, I could do something like that for you guys, like a subset, because I know not everybody's interested in discontinued perfumes or perfumes in general. But that line is worth finding. And you won't be able to test them beforehand. I mean, likely, because I don't think there's really samples out there. So you'd have to go on faith. And I mean, it's blind faith. I get it. And they're expensive. They're not cheap. There are smaller versions of the bottles sometimes too that are about half the size, but they are just so beautifully made. Like, and honestly, especially the iris and the lavender, if you were to buy them, you could sell them, because I would probably, I mean, to be honest, if you found a lavender and it was not ridiculously priced, or an iris and you didn't like it, I'll buy it from you. If it's not like $800. I mean, like, yeah, I would, because they're that good. And there'd be other people like me who would be willing to buy it from you as well. I just haven't seen a bottle in a long time. Like, I think you'd really have to hunt for them. I've stopped hunting for them because at least I have one bottle of each. But again, it would take some, I mean, you'd have to really hunt. Some of you have like, you know, perfume houses and like that you work with or you're familiar with, or you're overseas. That's the other thing. I'm in the US. They're much harder to get a lot of these in the US than there is like to get it in Paris, for example, or Milan. I mean, you'll have an easier time, especially Paris, because the US is the US. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to go into, let's just leave it there. So yes, that's a line that I really would say is worth hunting down. And perfumes in general, as long as they've been kept away from light and heat and all that, they'll keep for like forever. I mean, if it's a, you know, good perfume with preservatives, old preservatives in it. Yeah, if you keep it in a dark cabinet like I do, with not exposed to light or air, you know, I've heard of like people passing down perfumes to their kids and their kids. So if you can find something that has, you know, still in a box or still in a bottle and hasn't been exposed to light and all that stuff. Again, it's harder to find those things because it's hard to know who's done that. But, you know, after a while, you can start to build up, which I've done, certain resellers that you trust. Same thing is true with like luxury bags and stuff. There's resellers that I trust. Like this jewelry here is from Anthology of Style. And Anthology of Style is where I source my secondhand Chanel bags or any of my luxury bags. I trust her and her team. And she did a show from Paris, actually. These are the glass blowers that did the glass for the Groupois, actually, for Chanel. And so these are old pieces that I bought from Kim. So, you know, same thing. It's hard to know who to buy from, but once you know who to buy from and you know who you can depend on, you know, it becomes easier, because then you're like, oh yeah, I know I can trust them with makeup, with jewelry, with perfume, clothes, bags, etc. So I hope you found this video interesting. I do get a lot of questions about these types of things, so I thought it would be fun. And then, like I said, there's a couple of new things that I think, like the Saint Laurent blushes or the Chanel new liners or the Mob Beauty, you know, lip liner, or the Fenty products, which I think are really excellent and worth taking a look at. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you in another video really soon.